Are you tired of running away from tons of zombies while you're trying to get some gunpowder for your TNT production? Well, in this video, I'm going to be showing you how you can avoid this whole messy process with a simple build. So, before I die, let's get to it. Hey guys and gals, welcome back to the channel. My name is Patrick, and if you are here, you got to be gaming. In today's episode, we're going to be checking out how to build a creeper farm. So, let's get to it. Alright, so the things that we need for this build are right here in this chest. Now, for each layer, we will need about 5 stacks of building blocks, as well as 4 stacks of trapdoors if you're wanting to make this only a creeper farm. For the collection system, we're going to need at least 2 hoppers and 2 chests, though I highly recommend you build a much larger storage system than that. And also, we're going to need a dozen or so magma blocks. Now, the magma blocks are going to help us AFK with this farm, just so we can get all those materials and not have to really work for it too much. Now, for the other components of the collection system, we are going to need 4 dispensers and 4 buckets per level, as well as a handful of redstone. Now, we will actually need about 72 repeaters, which all in all will take about 212 redstone, I think that's it. So it does take a lot of redstone, but if you do quite a bit of mining, you should have plenty of that there. This just helps slow down that water cycle as much as possible. And then we're gonna need an absolute ton of these slabs, because that roof is going to take an absolute ton of them to put together. So yeah, that's everything we need for this build. So let's get to building. Alright, so the first thing that we're going to need to do is figure out our collection system. So pick a pretty flat place you want to actually build this thing, and we're going to decide where our center is going to be. And we're going to make ourselves a little 3x3 plus sign just like this, and then come 8 out off the side of that. And we're going to do that for all 4 sides. And then we're going to dig out this first layer of dirt. So once we have that dug out, we're going to come to one of the sides and dig out a 9 wide trench all the way across that goes 2 deep. So now the hole should look something like this. The next thing that we're going to do is come to the center of the opposite side and place ourselves down a water bucket and dig out a trench that goes right underneath that last square of the water, and break out all the blocks to where it steps out just like this. Alright, so once you have that done, we're going to come to the lowest part of this farm and dig ourselves one more trench all the way across, and then place ourselves a water bucket on the end of it like this, and then dig out the squares right underneath it until it stops flowing, and continue that process all the way down until we get to the very end. Now, this is going to be our collection system and the chamber in which we'll actually get to collect all the creepers and anything else that comes into there. Now, if you do want to make this too wide, you absolutely can, but a 1 wide trench will absolutely work. Now what we're going to do is come over to this other side and fill up the water all the way across, and now we have our collection system. Alright, so once you have that water flowing just like this, we're going to come down in this area and dig ourselves out a hole that looks something like this, and then we're going to place ourselves some chests just off the side like this, and then a hopper leading into the back of it. Once you have that set, what we'll need to do is place ourselves a couple stones like this, and then some slabs on the bottom part of that, just so none of the mobs will be able to get out, and we will be able to attack them from here and collect the experience and the drops. Now, once you have that, go ahead and dig yourself a way out. It doesn't matter if you dig straight up or staircase, whatever you want to do absolutely works. So one thing that you need to make sure you do is place yourself some magma blocks along this trench. If you wanted to go all the way across like this, you absolutely can, and you can get those drops without having to babysit this farm. Alright, so the next thing that we need to do is build up 24 from this center point. Now the reason why we are going to be going up 24 is because mobs will spawn outside of a 24 block radius of a player or a spawn point, which is very, very good to know when you are dealing with this type of farm. So try not to sleep too close to it, but you can still AFK down the collection area. When you are building this in your survival world, be sure to use dirt instead of stone because it will be a whole lot easier to break. Just something to keep in mind. Now when we get up here, we are going to build ourselves a little 3x3 platform, just like this. And once we have that built, we are going to go 8 out from each side of this. Alright, so once we have the arms out like that, all we need to do is start working our way back, taking one off each row just like this, so then we have a diagonal edge on each of the inner sides of this platform. We're going to do that for all 4 of these. And when you're done with that, it should look something like this. Now, once you have that there, we just need to come one off the side like this and build ourselves a perimeter all the way around. And once you have that perimeter there, all we need to do is come to the center line of these and place ourselves down a dispenser and put ourselves a water bucket inside that dispenser. We're going to do that for all 4 sides. It'd be nice if I could actually find the center. And once we have that done, this is where the expensive part of the farm comes into play. We are going to put ourselves a line of repeaters all the way around this thing except in the corners and on top of the dispensers, and have each one of them set to their 4 ticks. And then once we have that done, all we're going to do is place ourselves a redstone line on the corners and on top of those dispensers. So the next thing that we need to do is build ourselves a second platform. So you can either build it from the top or the bottom, either way works, but we are going to build it exactly the same way as we built that lower one. And now your build should look something like this. One thing I did forget to mention at the beginning was make sure that you bring lots and lots of torches just so you can line this thing and get it lit up before you actually want to do any building. Now we're going to do the same thing with the perimeter and go ahead and build ourselves one all the way around this other layer. Alright, so once you have that perimeter all the way around, all we need to do is place ourselves a dispenser like this, and then sneak over the edge and place ourselves a couple blocks like that, and start working ourselves a redstone line all the way up to the top, just like this. And then we're going to place a slab into the back of this dispenser and place a redstone line on top of it like that. Now every time that redstone gets fired at the bottom, it will also fire this dispenser and shoot out the water. Alright, so after we have all those dispensers in place and the redstone lines run, the next thing that we need to do is put a roof on this. Now if you want to, you can encapsulate all the sides to where the light doesn't get to come in, or you can build yourself a very large roof over the top. I'm going to go with the second option. I just kind of like the look of those a little bit better. So for that roof, all we need to do is build up one more above this perimeter and then build ourselves 7 out with some slabs just to spawn proof the top of this thing. And we are going to cover this entire area. So just a heads up, I did some calculations and it takes about 20 stacks of slabs to actually get this whole thing filled. So by the time you were to encapsulate the whole thing, it ended up being about the same amount of material. So whichever works for you will work for me. So once you have the roof on, it's going to look something like this. The next thing that we need to do is going to be coming down in each one of these layers and lining the top with those trapdoors. Now, the reason why this will only allow creepers to spawn is because that trapdoor takes up about a quarter block, and creepers are just slightly shorter than 1 3/4 block tall, which gives them the ability to spawn in an area like this. Alright, so once we have all the trapdoors in place, the last thing that we need to do is make sure that this thing is spider proof. So what we need to do is come to the 3rd row off the edge, and then 3 in off that edge, and place ourselves a little stone column like this, and then we're going to come 2 over from there and make ourselves another column like this, and then 2 over from that one and another column like that, and then we're going to come 2 off the very point of this and make another column. Now the way this is working is it's going to make sure that those spiders do not have enough room to spawn anywhere, which will allow only creepers to spawn from here. Now we will need to take out these front 2 blocks just so those creepers will have a better place to fall, and we're going to repeat this process all the way through for all of these layers. Alright, so once we have all of those columns in place, it's going to look something like this. Now the last thing that we need to do is come over to one of the dispensers, put a button on the front of it, and go ahead and turn that on. Once we have that going, all we need to do is break out all of these blocks, and then we can start reaping the rewards of our mob farm. Now we will need to make sure that down around the bottom is well lit, just so all of these mobs won't ruin our mob cap and make it to where it's very difficult to actually get any decent rates out of this. Now you will occasionally get a few spiders coming out of this thing, but for the most part it will be those creepers, and yeah, you get to just watch them fall out of the sky. Now if you wanted to make this thing many layers taller, you absolutely could. And like I said, you can see a little spider in there, but for the most part, they won't spawn too much. So I'm going to go ahead and leave this thing running for a little while and see how much we can actually get from this farm. Alright, well I've let this farm run for about 10 minutes and we got just over 2 stacks of gunpowder, which is really good. I believe that puts us at the roughly 750 gunpowder per hour range, which is awesome, especially since we're only using 2 layers of this farm. If you wanted to make an absolute ton of gunpowder, just build this thing up to be super tall and you will get heaps and heaps of gunpowder. If you do have any questions at all about this farm, please feel free to ask me in the comment section and I will get back to those as quickly as I can. If you did enjoy this video, please consider hitting that like button, and if you want to see more of the tutorials that I put out, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn notifications on, just so YouTube knows they need to pass on the word to you whenever another video of mine comes out. And with all of that being said, I hope you are all having a very blessed day. Thanks again for stopping by to watch this video, I really appreciate it, but as usual, I gots to go.